All right, so now that I've shown you how to blend photos together using Adobe Bridge, I want to show you how to create a multiplicity image. And multiplicities is just like the namesake, multiple copies of the same person in one final photo. So just to give you an example, I'm going to go down to Safari here and I'm going to go to Google. Under images up in the left, I'm going to type in multiplicity photo. Multiplicity photo. And this is the idea of a multiplicity where you see the same person in the photo over and over and over and over again. Here are a bunch of examples. That's the same person in multiple different outfits, multiple different poses. Okay, you get the idea. There's a kid, playing games by themselves, looking at the camera, looking out the window. There's that one girl just posing over and over and over again. That one's really weird. Okay, so you get the idea. It's the same person in the final photo at the end, but it's multiple copies. And what makes a multiplicity image a little more interesting is when the person is wearing different outfits. See, this guy is just jeans and black, jeans and black, jeans and black, jeans and black. And that's fine, but how many areas or parties do you go to where everybody shows up wearing the exact same thing? They don't. They do this. This guy showed up in a blue shirt. He's in a brown shirt. He's in a green shirt. He's in a tank top. Okay, he's wearing a hat. He's wearing a gas mask. I don't know why, but they're in different outfits. Okay, here's one where he's in the same business suit over and over, which is fine. Here's a great shot. Man, this guy did a lot of work. He's in the classroom. It's all the same guy posing multiple times, changing his outfit. Okay, really hard to do like that. It's a lot of work, but the end result looks great. Here's one where she's just dressed the same way over and over. Okay, and they're just all standing at the tables. That's really weird. But you can look up multiplicity images here in Google. You get some great shots. What also helps is when you have a sense of overlap. Okay, this does not make a good multiplicity image because every figure is separate from every other figure. This is a good one where there's overlap, there's figures interacting with each other. Okay, there's figures interacting, not just like this. This is boring. The same figure is separated over and over. There's no interaction among the figures. Okay, so try to have that interaction if you can. Like I showed you up here, if I scroll up, there's a lot of interaction with these guys, a lot of overlap. They're crowding the scene in a more believable manner. These guys are sitting behind this guy, he's behind that guy, he's behind that guy. This looks believable. Okay, this guy is the teacher in the class and he's got students, but these are too far away. Okay, have the room filled with some detail so we can see what's going on. This is a really crowded shot. And look how his hand is on his own back. It's kind of hard to pull off. Where would you hold your hand in the air knowing that you're not sitting there in the chair? You have to kind of line things up in your photography. So it's fun to experiment. Okay, so I'm going to quit Safari here. And I'm going to come back into Photoshop and I'm going to use an automated process. I'm going to use Adobe Bridge again. So File, Browse in Bridge. Here I'm in my Chapter 3 folder from my desktop, and I have folder number 8, Multiplicity. Okay, first folder says Do Not Turn In. This is an example where I just did 4 little photos. So here is the final photo. Okay, I got my wife sitting on the fire pit, and then she's acting like she's reading the newspaper. Then I told her to get up and act like you're reading over your shoulder. Then I told her to get up and act like you're reading over your other shoulder. So here were the individual photos. I took a photo of her because she's only one person. So I took a photo of her sitting by herself. Then I said, carefully get up from the chair. Don't kick the chairs out of place. And sit like you're reading over your shoulder. Then I told her to get up, sit over here, and act like you're reading over your shoulder. And then I told her to get up and say, what the heck is going on? Okay, so that gives you some ideas. You're not going to turn this one in. I'm going to come back up to folder 8 right up here, Multiplicity, and this is the one you're going to turn in, Computer Lab Multiplicity. So again, when I double click on a folder, I can look inside, and you're going to be creating this image right here. Okay, again, another classroom setting. Now, I'm wearing the same thing over and over and over again because I didn't have anybody helping me out, and I don't want to sit there undressing in a classroom on a Saturday afternoon. So I had my camera on a tripod, and I set my camera to a 20-second timer. So after I set the timer, I ran over here and acted like I was laughing at this guy. Then I reset the timer and acted like I was freaking out. Then I reset the timer and acted like I was pointing at something. Then this guy is like eavesdropping. This guy is daydreaming. And all these people are interacting and filling in the classroom. Okay, what you have to keep in mind is I was the only one in the classroom on that day. So this was the photo that I shot. Okay, I had to think there would be a person's head right about here. So I got to act like I'm looking at them, not like I'm looking over here above their head. Your eyesight kind of has to line up. Here's another person, then another, and another. And you'll notice how the person moves throughout the scene. The scene itself does not move, so your camera can never move. That is the key to shooting your own multiplicity. So you're going to learn the process by building this one that I photographed. Then on your own, whether you do it out in a park or in your bedroom or in your kitchen, you're going to shoot your own multiplicity. It's got to have a minimum of 6 or more copies of the person. And you do not have to be the person in the final photo. You can tell your friend or your relative, hey, go pose over there, now go sit in that chair. Because you kind of know what is needed for the photography. If people don't understand what you're trying to do, they move the camera around and then it doesn't work. So you do not have to be in your final multiplicity image, but I'm going to show you how to make them. Then I want you to go photograph your own. Okay, you're going to do 6 or more in your own final multiplicity. I'm here to show you how it's done. Then go do it on your own. So you will be turning in this one and another one that you're going to shoot on your own. So I'm going to show you the process here. So again, notice the camera doesn't move any time at all. Okay, only the figure is moving positions throughout the scene to eventually create that scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on photo 1, scroll down here, and shift click photo 12. Okay, I don't want the final one because that's already a finished piece. 1 through 12. And I'm going to use that automated process again. Tools menu, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. If you get the warning or error message, just click no. Don't add it to the queue and then just do it again. Tools menu, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers, and here's all my layers. Okay, one thing I want to point out is when you go to work on a multiplicity image, the images at the top should be the images that are closest to you. Okay, the figure in the front row is number 1. The figure in the front row is number 2. And for some reason on this file, number 9 got pushed way down here. Number 9 is the guy who's sitting at this front computer. So I'm going to take layer number 9 and move that up right there. So the number order is 1, 2, 9. and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. But for some reason, number 9 gets out of place. So be aware of that. 1, 2, and 9. Okay, I don't know if my camera slightly moved, and I want to make sure all the monitors are lining up, all the desktops are lining up. So I'm going to click once on the top layer, shift click the bottom layer, and I'm going to do an auto align. Edit menu, auto align layers. Again, there's nothing I need to click here except OK. I just want to make sure that when I set my camera on the timer, I didn't accidentally bump the camera for whatever reason. And just make sure everything is lined up. Otherwise, objects will not work. My camera never moved, or if it did, it moved very slightly. And that is the key. So here's what you do. You start on the top, because this photo at the top is covering all the rest of these photos. So you have to kind of start from the beginning. Start at the top. And all you're going to do is turn off the eyeball. So you know the top layer is this figure over here on the left. Okay, when I turn it on, he reappears. So I would always suggest that. Turn the layer on and off so you know which figure. It's the one on the left. Then you go to Layer menu, Layer Mask, and you hide all of that layer. Okay, what that's going to do is add a layer mask on the right, and it's going to fill your layer mask with black paint. Remember, on a mask, black erases the photo. So technically, if this entire layer mask is black, this entire photo has now been erased. Okay, I don't want the whole photo because I still want to see the person who is standing here. So here is the main secret. Stay on the right. If you click right here, click, and you are on your photo, you're going to ruin it. So you stay on the right side. You can see there's a little white frame around the mask. Everything about a multiplicity image is about layer masking. So you have to stay on the right in order to do it right. One click on the left, you're asking for trouble. So stay on the right. You want to make sure that white frame stays around your layer mask. Okay? When you are on a layer mask, you're going to hit D for default colors. I'm going to take my paintbrush, and with Control key and Option key, I'm going to click and drag out to make my brush a little bigger. I want a soft brush because I'm trying to blend photos together. And I know if the whole layer mask is black, I have to paint the opposite of white. And white reveals. If black erases, then the opposite will reveal. So I know there was a figure's hand right here. So if I paint with white, I can reveal the missing part of the photo, my hand. I can reveal more of the figure. And I'm just going to slowly paint until I can find that shoulder. And I'll come up against the edge of the shoulder here. Now I'm going to go up the back side of the head. And the main goal is you want to just paint enough to find the figure. Don't paint way over here. There's nothing over here. You are painting where the figure was standing. Don't paint way over here. I wasn't standing over here. I was standing over here. So I'm going to go just around the edges like this. I want to slowly find the edges, like my shoulder right there. There's the edge of my arm. There's my fingertip. Come down the knuckles. Find the edge of my shirt right here. And right down to the chair. Okay, then I fill in all the rest of my missing head, so I don't have a big hole in my head. But technically, this is all you want to show on your top layer, just the figure. All the rest of the computer lab has now been erased because it's just going to show up in the next photo. Okay, and that is your goal, is to only reveal the figures in each and every photo, each and every time. So after this layer is done, what I would recommend is as you are working, continuously save your progress as you go. Okay, once you reveal a figure, File, Save As. Once you reveal another figure, Save, Command S, and keep saving. You don't want to get to the 5th or 6th figure and then your computer crashes, because then you just have to start all over again. Okay, so now that I've revealed it, I click down on the next layer and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to turn off the eyeball so I know it's this figure way over here on the right, because when I turn it on, he reappears. And I'm going to repeat those stages again. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors. Since the layer mask is black, I want to paint with white. Stay on the right. And now when I paint with white, I can find that arm casting its shadow on the desk. I can find the body right here. I can go up and find the back of my head. Just slowly paint, because I don't want to paint too far away from the figure. I am only trying to find these figures. Again, this guy's sitting over here, so I don't want to paint way up there. I'm just trying to find the edges of the figure. There we go. And I'll zoom in right on the top of this computer, because if I use a smaller brush, there's a little bit of a fingertip right there as I was pointing at this guy. There we go. All right, let's zoom back out. Good. If you were photographing your own multiplicity, you'd already be halfway done. Your multiplicity is going to be 6 or more. We're going to practice with 11 or 12, so I really get the hang of this. So now I've got 3 figures sitting together in the front row. Again, I would save my progress, because now we've just revealed another one. Now you come down to the next layer, turn it off so we know it's this figure right in the middle. And I repeat the steps again. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors. And now when I take my brush, I'll hold Control and Option, make it bigger again. I know there was a figure appearing right out from behind this monitor. So we'll go right up against the back side of my head. And I'm going to zoom in, because this is where you're going to start to run into trouble. Okay, watch the arm right here. If I paint with white and I reveal my elbow and then I reveal the arm, the guy behind him is going to get his fingertips cut off. He's going to get his shoulder starting to fade away, which obviously we don't have a ghost sitting in the classroom. So what's happening there is when you have figures that overlap, you have to keep in mind that when I took this photo, there was nobody standing behind me. So the further I paint away from my body, the more I'm painting a blank computer, which is now covering this guy's fingertips. Okay? So what I have to do when figures overlap, you paint with white, reveal the figure in front, then you hit X to switch to black. I'll come in with a smaller and a harder brush by holding Control and Option and going down. And now I scrape away like this. Let me just show you right here. I'm going to scrape away right up to the edge of my arm like that. Okay, because I want the photo up here to go right behind the edge of the arm. So watch what happens here. I paint to the edge of my arm and the photo behind goes right behind the edge of that arm. Realistically overlapping. Okay, just like my shoulder, I am erasing around the edge of my head, so this guy's shoulder goes right behind the edge of my head right there. And there we go. Now I've got that realistic overlap right there. Great. Now I got 4 of us sitting together. Again, Command S, save your progress, come down to the next layer. I'll turn that off so I know it's this guy sitting right here. That guy. And I'm going to do it again. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors. And I'll come in with my soft brush again. Control and Option and up for a soft brush. And I'll blend it right there. I can paint over because he's actually behind this guy. So make sure I go all the way to the edge of that arm. Go out and find my elbow. Find my shoulder. Find the top of my head. Find the other shoulder right down to there. We'll just paint all that in. Great. But now, look what's happening over here. Now this guy is missing half of his jaw. But I didn't even do anything with him yet. Just he reappears and now he's missing half of his jaw. So now I have to be a detective. I have to find out which layer is making this guy's jaw disappear. So I just turn off eyeballs. Well, it's not that layer. It's not that layer. Not that layer. Ah, it's the first guy that I did. Okay, so if I turn off all my other layers for a second, notice I painted away from my arm. And the further I get away from my body, the more it's going to cover this guy back here. So if I know the top layer is the one that's affecting the missing jaw, I go to the right, always on the right, hit D for default colors, and now X. I want to paint with black. I got to erase right around my arm. So again, Control and Option, I'll drag down for a harder brush, drag to the left for a smaller brush, and now I can just click and drag right around my arm, erase right around my fingertip. Here's what I'm doing on the top layer. I'm scraping away all this stuff that's away from my body. That way the next photo can just go right behind that arm. Okay, so I'm just going to keep scraping away this photo right here. Scrape it away around my fingertip. Scrape it away from the edges of my fingertip. And I'll zoom in so you can see this. Okay, this guy's shirt goes right behind that finger, so I got to come in with a really small brush and just kind of scrape around that fingertip right there. There we go. So this guy's shirt goes behind my fingertip. And now that guy comes out right from behind this guy. There we go. This guy's fingers come right out from behind this guy. This guy's head comes right out from behind this guy. There we go. I got 5 of them done. Command S, save, and then I continue on. So if I'm not sure what layer number 4 is, turn off the eyeball. So I know it's this guy who is sitting right there. Because when I turn it on, he reappears. Make sure you're painting in the right areas. Turn your layers on and off so you know where to paint. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors. I'll come in with Control and Option. I'll drag up for a soft brush. Make it a little smaller because this is a tight little space right in here. So I'll just paint around the top of the head right there. There we go. Looking good. Now I come down to the next layer, turn it off so I know it's this guy who is sitting right here because you can see him reappear right there. So I'm going to zoom in on that. And we'll do it again. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors. And now I'm going to paint with white again right here. And looks like my shoulder's not exactly showing up perfectly, so I got to see what's going on there. And notice when I try to find the top of my head, this guy starts to disappear behind that head. Okay, so we got another ghost guy back here. Plus, look at my shoulder. Looks kind of faded away. That's probably because when I painted this guy in, I painted too far away from that hand. So again, I start turning off eyeballs. Which layer is affecting my shoulder? That layer. I can see it right there. So I come up to that layer, go to the right, hit D for default colors, and then X for black. I'll just make my brush a little smaller, and I scrape away the edges of this photo. See, now I can get this guy's photo off of this guy's shoulder, so I don't have a little ghost guy. Okay, but look what's happening down here. My elbow doesn't quite go all the way down, so I think it's this guy. Yep, I can see that weird haze around the finger. So I got to come up to the right, paint with black, and I'll paint with a harder brush right against the fingertip right there. So now this arm goes right down underneath that finger, right behind that monitor. There we go. All right, he's looking nice and solid. Now this guy is my ghost guy. So again, as I revealed this figure, it's this guy right here. Okay, you always click the eyeball. I painted past the edge of my head, which is now covering up this guy behind me. So again, when I paint with black, I'm going to scrape away the photo. Don't reveal too much past the edge of my head. Here's what I'm doing. Scraping away right around my head so the next figure can come up right to the edge of the head. Okay, so I don't want this weird glow around my head, so we'll just scrape right around there with a soft brush. Okay, that's looking good. Now we'll zoom out. Now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. I'm going to save my progress, continue down to the next layer, and it's this guy's little head popping up right back here, because when I turn it back on, he pops up. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors, because I gotta paint with white. White will reveal that missing figure right there. He's just a head. Now I come down to layer 7, turn it off, so I know it's this guy who is standing right here, because when I turn him back on, he reappears. Okay, but first, let's reveal him. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors, and I'll zoom in. He's supposed to be standing right there. And when I paint with white, I can reveal, see, right up to his shoulder, get the back of the head, and notice he's kind of ghosted back here. I can't really get his arm in there. Got a little problem with this guy showing up like a ghost. So again, I gotta play detective. Why is my shoulder not showing up here? I start turning off eyeballs. There it is, this guy. Number 4, I painted too far past the head, and now it's covering up that shoulder. So I go to the right, D for default colors, X for black, and I'm going to scrape away around the edges of the head right here, so that shoulder can come into view right there. There we go. I'm going to scrape around my head. I don't want to paint way over here. There was nothing over here. Okay, my goal is to just reveal my figures. I don't need all this junk out here because I wasn't over here. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Now my arm is still disappearing, so I got to see which other layer is affecting that arm. See if it's this one. There we go. There's a layer. So now I got to come up to this layer on the right. See if I get that out of the way. There is an arm here. But when I painted, I went way over here. I painted way too far away from that elbow. See, all this junk is covering up that guy behind. So on the right, D for default colors, X for black. And I'm going to scrape away this photo away from the arm, way out here. If I'm right up to the elbow, I want to paint with a harder brush because the edge of the arm is hard. So I'll hold Control and Option and drag down. That way I'm painting with a harder brush right against the back of my elbow. So this guy's shirt goes right behind my elbow. This guy's arm goes right behind my sleeve right there. Right up to the edge of the sleeve. And there we go. His thumb kind of pokes out from behind my arm. All right. That looks realistic right there. Great. Coming together. Save your progress. Now I'm going to see which layer is number 8. This looks like this guy way back here. So I'll zoom in on him. And notice this guy. He's missing a shoulder. Missing part of his arm. So this guy's head is somehow erasing this guy's arm. So I'm going to come back and start turning off layers. There we go. He's number 6. See, that arm was there. It's just fading away. So I got to come up to number 6 on the right. D for default colors. X for black. And I'm going to come in with a harder brush again, because I got to paint with black right against the edge of my head. That way this guy's shoulder disappears right behind the edge of my head right there. This guy's arm disappears right behind the tip of my nose right there. Okay, there we go. This guy's arm was casting a little bit of a shadow, so we'll get some of that shadow to come in here. There you go, right around my face. There we go. And now this guy is disappearing behind that edge because I painted around that edge. I can see a little thing flickering on and off there. It looks like when I painted I went way over there, so we'll just paint with black. Kind of scrape that off. There we go. All right, save, and then I can continue. So here's number 8 again. It's this guy. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all, D for default colors, and I know he was standing right there, so I'm going to paint with white and reveal that missing figure right there. Get him to come back in right behind that head. That all looks pretty good. All right, this guy back here who's daydreaming, his arm looks like it's a little ghosted right there. I can see lines coming through the arm. That's probably because when I painted this guy, I painted way over there. I painted too far away from my head. So let's see which layer that is. Ah, there it is. Number 5. See? When I get rid of that, there's no arms or lines sticking through my arm. But I painted way too far over here. So on number 5, I go to the right. D for default colors. X will switch to black. And just so you can see this, I'm going to option click that eyeball. See, I painted way too far away. So now I just scrape away from the edge of the head. So there's no paint over here because I wasn't over here. Option click the eyeball again, and no more lines coming through my arm. Everybody's blending together really well. All right, let's see what number 10 is. I'll turn off the eyeball, and it looks like this little daydreamer right over here. When I turn it off, he disappears. Okay, so I'll zoom in on him. Turn off the eyeball. I know it's that layer. Layer menu, layer mask, hide all of it. D for default colors, and I will paint with white, and I will reveal this missing figure daydreamer right here. There we go. Now I can scroll over, and we got this guy back by the printer. His arm is severed right here, and he has no back. Okay, that's number 11. Okay, so I need to see what's going on. this guy's arm is fading away, probably because this guy at the top. See, that arm is there, but the guy at the top covered it up. So I got to go to the top layer, always on the right. D for default colors, X to switch to black. And again, I'm going to hold Control and Option and come down for a harder edge. So I can paint right around that harder edge of the sleeve right there. Get rid of all that paint. I don't need it. Okay, didn't need any of that. There we go. I'll just paint around my head because a lot of that photo is kind of yellow. So we'll come in with a soft brush and kind of fade that out right there. But now this guy's arm is going right behind that shoulder realistically. This guy's back is fading away. So it's probably this guy. So I need to find what layer that guy's on. So I'll start turning off eyeballs again. There he is. See, my back is there. So number 7 is the one who's messing up my back. I go to the right. D for default colors. X to switch to black, and again I'm going to come down, Control key and Option key, and down for a harder edge to the brush. Go to the left for a smaller brush, and now when I paint with a hard brush I'm going to go right up to the edge of this back, so this guy's back can go right up to this guy's back, right down that edge right there. All right. That looks pretty good. The only one you don't touch is the bottom layer. Okay, number 11 is this guy, but if I got rid of all the rest, this guy can't be seen anyway because he's behind number 1 anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. So you can stop at number 11. Number 12 is just kind of useless. He's just buried underneath. But this is my final panoramic image. Now, if you notice any weird colors, zoom in, find those layers, and do some edge editing. Like right here on this first figure, I can see kind of a yellowish haze because that photo was kind of yellowed. So I can see I painted past my shoulder. So I'm going to go up to that top layer on the right. D for default colors. X to switch to black, and I'm just going to scrape off some of that yellow right against the edge of my shoulder like that, so it has a nice cleaner look all the way around. Command and 0 means fit on screen. I can zoom out a little bit more, and once I'm done I can go to my layers panel, click the pop-up, and flatten out the image. Make everything one big final panoramic photo. So just like any other photo, if I wanted to touch up the colors, I could go to Image menu, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. I can take the reds in the skin tones, see, right there. Or I can make them a little lighter. Or make me like Hellboy here. But you can see some of the possibilities that are available. Or take the yellows in the photo, tone out some of the yellows right there. So we kind of neutralize that warm cast in the photo there. And I like that look. So you're going to turn in this one to me. I want to see that you can edit edges. And then once you understand this process, my challenge to you is go shoot your own. You know this one's going to work because I photographed it for you. I want you to set up your own. Look around on Google, see what other people did. Think of places where multiple people would gather at dinner, sitting out in a park or whatever you want, in your bedroom. Change your outfit instead of using the same color over and over and over. Have figures stand in front or behind other figures as you would normally see with overlapping characters. And let's see what you can come up with now that I've shown you how to do it. Good luck. I want to see this and your own. That's how you do a multiplicity.